Batting eighth, playing third base, number 21, Emily Bracamonte. On the table, sur le centre, numéro 27, batting ninth, playing center field, number 27, Alisa Vivelo. Et dans la position flex, also numéro 9, in the flex position, pitching number 9, Rassi Miranda. Et substituting others, numéro 1, number 1, Alexandra Aguilar. Numéro 29, number 49, Yanina Trevino. Numéro 16, number 16, Marlene Espinosa. Numéro 18, number 18, Lindsay Lopez. Numéro 2, number 2, Alejandra Casas. Team Mexico. Les arbitres sont la Chiens for this game. Au nord, à home plate, Ryan Weber. Au premier but, at first base, Terry Richter. Au deuxième but, at second base, Susan Stratford. Au troisième but, at third base, Mike Sanchuk. Mesdames, Messieurs, évidemment, vous levez si vous en êtes capable et retirez les chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux de la Grèce ou du Mexique. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise if you are able and remove your hats and caps for the national anthems of Greece and Mexico. Both teams had a great game.
Welcome back to Softball City. Peter Lubardius and longtime Italian national team member Amanda Fama as we close out day number 1 of the 2023 Canada Cup of Softball Tournament. This tournament will run the 8-team Women's International event with the championship final slated for here on Sunday evening at 6. And tonight we have a chance, Amanda, to watch a team you're very familiar with, and that is Team Mexico. And another team that very much is in transition since what occurred 2 summers ago in Japan.
Yeah, Peter, it's kind of a theme that we're seeing here is this transition period for a lot of these teams, kind of building up to a hopeful 2028 Olympics.
And Mexico will take the field first. They're the home team for this game. And taking on Team Greece. Greece was in action earlier today, and they fell 4-0 in their first game against Team Israel. And they're hoping for some more batting production. They only had 2 hits in the game against 3 different pitchers from Israel. And they will be facing starter Racy Miranda, who gets the call tonight to begin for Nancy Prieto's Team Mexico. She is from Strawberry, Arizona, and just completed her most recent college season at a very fine softball school, Cal State Fullerton, where she was 4-5 on the season with an ERA of 3.08. She also, Amanda will be very familiar with this, Racy pitched in the 2022 World Games last summer in Birmingham, Alabama, after she was here at the Canada Cup for Team Mexico, who had a very young group, and they're still a young group in the 2023 event. And Team Greece, as she did in their opening game, the leadoff batter is left fielder Molly Callander. Callander did not have a hit in the game earlier today against Team Israel. And we are set for the first pitch of the final game of day number 1. Greece and Mexico. And Miranda set to deliver. Hard-throwing right-hander, and it is a ball unless she went around. And according to the first base umpire, the answer to that question is quickly a no. Racy Miranda pitched 16 innings in the tournament last summer here in Surrey, which was bumped up because of other tournaments. This is the regular time of year for the long-standing Canada Cup tournament, which doesn't just involve the women's event. Under 17, under 19, different divisions, 3 other excellent softball facilities in Surrey playing host to games. And the drop ball swung on and missed by Callander, who was 0 for 3 in the game earlier today. Playing again in left field as she did this afternoon for Team Greece, coming off a 7-3 record at last summer's European Championship, but the record a tad misleading because they did not find themselves in the same scenario as teams like the Netherlands, Italy, and some of the high-powered teams. They did to begin, but didn't advance to what I would call the better of the 2 groupings when things got separated. They were 4-4 in 2019 at the event. Mexico as we touched on right off the top, very much in transition. This is a very different looking Mexico team than the one here in 2019 that won the Olympic qualifier. They were the first of the two teams, along with Canada, to advance to Japan, and had a very veteran, high-powered team. And Kolander has her first hit of this Canada Cup as she takes the Miranda offering up the middle. And that's exactly, Amanda, what Greece is looking for, coming off just 2 hits earlier today.
Yeah, that's a great way for them to start off this ball game.
Georgia Polidorus in her familiar number 2 spot in the lineup. Polidorus did not have a hit earlier today. Couple of changes. And a very young team. In fact, both are. But Greece probably even a little more so. Georgia Polidorus just out of high school, Lamar High School in Houston, where she batted .493. Kolander with a big jump over there at first, but play by Mexico catcher Alexia Lopez keeps Kolander at first base as Miranda looking to find her rhythm early in this game. Canada won the previous contest as they downed the Australian development team by a score of 8-0 in a game that, or make that 9-0 in a game that lasted 5 innings. Mexico's a perfect 2-0. They are certainly the reigning Olympic champions, the favorite here this week, along with the likes of Canada, TC, Colorado, and Italy. And Amanda, this is the team that interests me in some ways the most. Is this Mexico team going to be much better than the team that played here a year ago?
I'm excited to see Mexico play as well. They're coming off a huge bronze medal this last couple weeks or two. And I think they have the potential to really grow, and I think we're starting to see that. And so it's going to be really exciting to see how they do in this tournament and then leading into that group staging.
Well, the interesting part is they are not one of the 18 teams.
Oh.
They have not qualified, unfortunately, which is so odd, is over at third base. An error made by Emily Bracamonte, who plays collegiately for the Central Michigan Chippewas. Is the hit by Polidorus on the ground and tried her best, but it kept spinning. And so a hit and an error and a good beginning for Team Greece.
And that's the pressure that a fast runner puts on a defensive player. Speed kills sometimes, and you get a little ahead of yourself. That's what happened there.
And some nerves. It's their first game, I believe, of the tournament. Team Greece playing their second, so those nerves already settled after their loss to Israel. Brianna Nakaza, the batter, she's playing at second base in the number 3 spot in the Greek order. And Miranda did find the outside corner that time with her pitch. Love her hometown name, Strawberry, Arizona.
That's an easy one.
I like that one. At Cal State Fullerton. Down and away to Nakaza. And Greece, who were unable to score against Israel in a all-European matchup, trying to get on the board first. Nakaza is a product of Chicago, Illinois. And a good drop and a strikeout. First of the game and the first out by Miranda. And that looked like a pretty good drop to me, Amanda, on the outside corner.
Yeah, it's good placement by Racy. She's struggling a little bit, but she's starting to get in her little groove here.
That brings to the plate the designated player, Zoe Stavru, one of 2 Stavru sisters on the team, playing for Team Greece. and had a healthy cut at that as she fouled it back to the screen. Zoe, earlier in the game today against Israel, was officially 0 for 2. And in search of her first hit, Zoe, born in the year 1997, 26, played her collegiate softball at North Dakota State. Been a part of this Greek program now for a little while. She's played in a couple of European championships, 2019 and 2022, the most recent one, and had a good tournament. She batted .382 and drove in 5. Had a home run in that tournament against Spain, and had 4 different multi-hit games at last summer's European Championship. She'd love to cash in the first run of this game. And what would be the first run of the tournament for the Greek national team? Wearing the Hellas on the front. And Racy Miranda trying to settle in her first appearance, in her second consecutive Canada Cup tournament. And the changeup is an excellent one. So comes right back with back-to-back strikeouts, and I think that was the first changeup that she has offered up, and it was a good one at a key time.
A perfect time to throw that pitch. I think we're going to start to see that more pretty soon here.
The next batter is also a youngster, just out of high school. Julia Apus. Didn't have that much trouble with it this afternoon, so I'll get there again. And I have no excuse with the last name Lubardius. Apostolakos.
There you go.
She was the starting pitcher in the game earlier today against Israel. Worked about 2.5 innings. And a good hitter. Great high school hitter. Apostolakos. Chance for her to drive in her first ever run at the Canada Cup. And she's in the number 5 hole in the lineup. She's from Toms River, New Jersey, and stays alive on that swing. She was the 2022 New Jersey Softball Player of the Year, and being an American and growing up in the American high school and college system, that's a big deal.
That is a very big deal. It's something to be proud of. It's something to work towards as you're playing as well, and a good title to have along with your name.
And she will play next year at the University of South Florida in Tampa Bay, where they have a fine program and a great park. I recommend it as well. You can get to a lot of places on NHL hockey trips if you're really committed. Toms River is also a community that was made famous at one point thanks to their Little League World Series baseball team. Certainly that's one of the reasons I'm familiar with Toms River. In her high school season as a pitcher, Amanda, she struck out 232 batters this year and hit .518. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised, and I'm not, that she's on her way to a pretty good Division I NCAA program and figures to be a huge part of this Greek program for a long time.
Sounds well-deserved and well-earned. Good for her.
As her international journey begins here today at Softball City on night number 1. We've had a great day. Fabulous crowd for the Canada game just before this one. Play resumes tomorrow morning.
Oh.
That is a fine play at second. That took a gigantic hop. Nice reaction over at second by Kimberly Rodas as Apostolakos hit it hard.
She really read that ball. Sorry, excuse me. She read that ball really well. It was hit hard. It took a hard hop. Even over her head. Good for her to be able to grab that.
We are through a half inning. Team Greece threatens. Mexico gets out of the jam on the final game of day one of the Softball Canada Cup. Team Greece takes the field, and they will go with Lauren Stavru on the mound. Her first appearance of this Canada Cup. Lauren is 29. She turned 29 on the 28th of April. Played in last summer's European Championship. Was 1-0, pitched 17 and a third innings. She started 4 different games in that event. And facing Jillian Celis, the shortstop and leadoff batter for Team Mexico. She's 21, from Corona, California, and playing currently collegiately at San Diego State for the Aztecs. And hit .348 this year at that school with 30 runs batted in. So had a massive season at San Diego State. And fouls this out of play. That's turning into a pretty good program, isn't it, at San Diego State?
The last couple of years, yeah, they've been doing really well. I believe Hayward was down there for a little bit coaching, and there's a few other Aztecs here at the tournament, and they are starting to come around.
I'll have to double check on it, but they might have ended up in a super regional this year, or at least a regional. May have lost to Utah in a super regional. We'll try and check on that. Celis, change up, pokes it to short, and this time Zoe Milanopoulos trying to make the play on the move. She says, that one's on me, and Celis is at first base on the air to the young shortstop, who I was very impressed with earlier today against Israel.
That's one of the most difficult plays for a shortstop, to take that angle towards third with the slow hit roller. You gotta get your glove down all the way the whole time coming through that, and unfortunately if we don't, that's what happens. Runner on one now.
Sacrifice bunt attempt for Kimberly Rodas from San Bernardino. And she is playing collegiately at Valparaiso. If you're at all into college basketball, they had a great run several years ago at the NCAA tournament. Poor Amanda's like, where does this guy come up with this stuff? The runner is Celis, and she'll beat it out easily and has a stolen base after earning her way to first on the air by Milanopolis. So Mexico wastes little time to have their first runner in scoring position. Rodas at Valparaiso. 234 was her average with 10 runs batted in. She did have one home run. I would guess that San Bernardino would be a junior college, or would it potentially be... Oh, no, she's at Valparaiso. She's from San Bernardino, so that changes that conversation in a hurry. The bunt attempt, and Nakaza climbed the ladder a little bit as Stavrou's throw just about eluded her. So the sacrifice bunt does move Celis over to third. Do you find in the international game at this level that there's less bunting now than there was in the past, or do you see much of a difference?
I don't see much of a difference, although I don't know if it's because I was playing that I see more hits. Being on the other end of it, I don't see much of a difference, but bunts are crucial in games, and I think sometimes teams forget that, and it costs them.
Well, the reason I asked that question, and even you have done such a nice job today explaining some of the differences between the NCAA college game, but I found there was not a lot of bunting in what would have been bunt-oriented situations at the College World Series in the 4 days that I was there. It just seems like even, and that's a very, very high level of the game, as you know. It seems like it's becoming more of a power game and maybe less of, I just didn't see as many slap hitters and, things that I've seen in the past.
I agree that in the college level, that's something that I have noticed, and hitters are getting stronger, pitchers are getting stronger, and so when you put those two together, the ball goes, the ball flies, and so I think that's what a lot of teams focus on, is getting that deeper ball instead of playing that traditional get a runner on, bunt them over. But in the end, softball is still the game that we all know, and you have to simplify it sometimes.
And Mexico's not afraid to lay one down, and Madeline Ruffin just did. Milanopolis hustles over to cover just in case, and there might have been a short window of opportunity, but Amanda, you can't put it down much better than Madeline Ruffin just did there for a bunt base hit. And interesting, as we're right in the middle of a conversation about bunting, we've seen a sacrifice and then one for a base hit from Madeline Ruffin, who's the designated player.
Yeah, they must be listening.
Well, you could probably hear me from here, but Lena Robledo, the left fielder in the cleanup spot, wearing Wayne Gretzky's number 99. Takes the pitch, and it's a strike on the inner half from Lauren Stavrou, who does have an out, giving up a hit and an error, has base runners at the corners. And it is a rope off the bat of Lena Robledo. Hit that very hard. Alyssa Robledo, also a member of this Team Mexico, from Fontana, California. Ooh, how on earth did that ball get there? I know how it got there. It was fouled off from the other diamond. 1 of 4 here at Softball City. A marvelous complex for this sport. Few better anywhere, and that's a strikeout. So Stavrou, with a big first strikeout of the game, has painted the outside corner on this pitch. fouls this. Down the left field line is Mexico trying to cash in and score their first run here in South Surrey. A full slate of games. And we'll bring you certainly all of them in terms of video and audio. And we have a little treat tomorrow afternoon, too, as arguably the greatest story of this event is a team that's not in this division. It is Team Ukraine. They are playing in the under-19 tournament in one of the two U19 conferences or divisions. I heard a story last night, and I think the same gentleman may have picked us up at the airport, Michael, and thank you, Michael. It was a bit of a zoo at Vancouver Airport I found last night when I flew in. But he talked about having a conversation with one of the staff of Team Ukraine and how a lot of their practices would get interrupted at times for 2 hours because they would have to leave practice, go in a safer place, allow the rockets and the fire to subside, and then return to practice. And they are here thanks to incredible donations and generosity, as the committee raised more than $60,000 to bring them here. And we'll get a chance to watch them and broadcast their game tomorrow against the Aloha Breeze. Well, Greece wasn't breezing early, but Lauren Stavru got them out of a jam with a strikeout back-to-back in the bottom of the first as we look for our first run in the final game of day number 1 of the Canada Cup. Some of the patrons, smiles on their face. And Greece batting in the top of the second as they were able to get out of a jam. You could say that Mexico's Racy Miranda able to do the same, and now just hit first base player. Kyla Benz, who also pitched in the game against Israel. And the batter is Maria Zapata, who's playing in right field. And we'll see if Tony Foti, the head coach, elects to bunt and move a runner into scoring position. And that pitch is low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Zapata. Maria will turn 26 at the end of the month. Born in the year 1997. Her birthday is July 27th. Eight teams in this women's international tournament. Everyone plays everyone, so 7 round-robin games prior to the playoffs. Hard hit, nice turn, and a double play. Brodus, the shortstop, Jillian Sellis, and the woman beside me knows about turning double plays, the former Italian national team shortstop. Can you do it any better?
That was real smooth. What I liked from Rodis, though, was staying down, especially after that ball she got last inning. There's a little bit of that fear lingering that it's going to hop up. She stayed down, and that was a great double play.
4 to 6 to 3 for a very well-turned double play. And those will help your pitching staff settle in a hurry. That was nicely done. And in this sport, with the base pass being 60 feet, you don't see all that many executed in that manner. Saw Japan turn a beauty earlier today. The middle of their diamond, Ishikawa and Kudo put on quite a show in their second game. Still marveling at the play in the middle of the diamond. Milanopoulos, the batter, and goes down swinging. So Greece looked like they might have something going, but then grounded into a double play. It's still 0-0 here in the final game of the day. Day 1 at Softball City, the Canada Cup. Alexa Lopez to lead things off for Team Mexico in the bottom of the second. Both teams have a hit. Both teams have committed an error. As Lauren Stavru with a changeup and finds the strike zone against Alexa Lopez. Alexia Lopez from Eastvale, California. Just completed her first year at Cal State Fullerton. Used in a limited role. Had 43 total at-bats. Was a star at Eleanor Roosevelt High School. And also played water polo at high school. See a lot of more than one sport athletes, especially for the ones coming out of high school. We've made note of that on a couple of occasions today. So Alexia Lopez, one of those. An interesting combination, Amanda, softball and water polo.
Very different, but maybe similar? I don't know how to throw a water polo ball, to be honest.
No, the swimming part's tough. I know this. She gets down the line in a hurry.
Yeah.
And that's an infield single for Eastvale, California's Alexia Lopez. So Mexico, for the second consecutive inning, have the leadoff batter aboard. And here's a veteran of this program, played here in 2019 in the Olympic qualifier, Stefania Heredias. She's going to bunt, and it's a beauty. But a nice play. Not easy to turn, pivot, and make that strong throw, which is exactly what occurred to record the first out. And a nice play over at first base by Kyla Benz.
Those are hard plays. Her weight is coming forward, and she's got to stop on a dime and stay low through that ball, and she did a great job.
Made the strong throw over to the covering, Brianna Nakaza, and now not sure which coaching staff is the reason, as I was looking down at the score sheet after the sacrifice bunt by Heredias, who was, for the most part, a backup player in 2019 and then at the Summer Olympic Games, but did participate, now in a more important role as Stefania Heredias, the 28-year-old from Mexico City. And she played collegiately, ending her college career back in 2016, another San Diego State Aztec. And the batter is Emily Bracamonte. I love the name Chippewas, the Central Michigan Chippewas. That's where she played her college ball and makes her first appearance at the Canada Cup. She's over at third. Runner in scoring position after the sacrifice bunt is Lopez, who beat out an infield what turned into a single. Mexico with 2 hits. Bracamonte would like to cash in the game's first run and rips it down the line, but foul. Off of Lauren Stavru. From Long Beach, California. She played collegiately at Farley Dickinson, and her college career ended in 2016 as well. Outside. A ball and 2 strikes. As an infielder, did you ever find yourself frustrated when pitchers gave up 0-2 base hits?
Yeah, that's something that you have to keep your frustration in.
Ooh, that eats up Nakaza. Bracamonte hit it hard in a turn that almost turned into an out by Lopez, and the coach goes over and says, need to be aware.
Absolutely. That's a reason to jump on a runner. I've actually done that, but great heads-up play by the second baseman over there. Fumbles the ball, hit hard, but again, thinking of a secondary option, beaming it back to third, and almost got her. And that would have been a huge error on the Mexico side if that resulted in an out, especially with this 0-0 game.
Well, they get away with it. The turn was stopped just in time from being tagged out, but you're right, Nakaza with a very heads-up play. That's a base hit for Bracamonte, and should be. As Mexico looks like they're starting to get a feel for things at the plate. Some good at-bats, some hard-hit balls. And this is the number 9 hitter in tonight's lineup for Team Mexico. And it is Alyssa Reboledo. 1 of 2. Rebolledo's on the team. And another ball foul down the left side of the diamond. On her way to Fresno State, 1 year under her belt, where she batted .249. Had a great high school career at Ramona High, and also played at that 2022 Pan Am Championship in Stavro. Was in trouble in the first inning before she delivered 2 strikeouts. That's her third of the game. And the veteran Greek pitcher, see if she can get out of another jam.
And that's a huge strikeout. Runners on, 1 out. Coming up with that strikeout's huge for the Greece team.
Be interesting to see if Mexico starts the runner here. But there are 2 out. Jillian Sellis reach base on the air to the fellow shortstop, Milanopoulos, and she is going to cash in the game's first run. Jillian Sellis with an RBI single, the 21-year-old from Corona, California, and gives Mexico a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the second. Turned on it, absolutely no chance for Necaxa. And trotting home was Lopez, who reached originally on an infield single. So a base hit and a run batted in for Sellis. Who at last year's Canada Cup for Mexico batted .316, and she's off to a nice start. Had 1 RBI last year, already has 1 now this year. And the pitch is a strike. I would suggest that the strike zone in this game is favoring the pitcher. But it's been consistent, and that's really, I would think, all you can ask for. As the conversation is had with Kimberly Rodas, who laid down a sacrifice bunt, her first time up. As Mexico is on the board here in the second. Valparaiso's Kimberly Rodas. That's her school. She's another player from California with Mexican heritage. Kimberly played in the 2021 U18 World Cup for Mexico, where she batted .133. That was a tournament that was originally scheduled again for the previous year, like the Olympics, but wasn't played until the following December. And did not field the best group of teams still at that point, so didn't have its usual World Cup or World Championship field. On the ground to Benz, who does well, steps on the bag. Jillian Sellis has an RBI single, and Mexico has a 2-1 lead after 2 here at Softball City.
I wonder how far the fence is. Do you know that? 'Cause that's a big outfield. It's a lot of grass.
I thought it was 225 all the way around, but I would have to check. Now we almost need a light in here. An Italian coaching Team Greece. I would suggest Foti must be Italian. And a strikeout for Miranda. Nice change. As gets Karamoussis. That's certainly a Greek name. Swinging. And Molly Colander trying to go 2 for 2. The leadoff batter. And like her number 7, plays the number 7 position in left field. Third strikeout of the game for Racy Miranda, as her offense has provided her with a 1-run lead. And that might be the pitch that she's delivered with the most velocity so far in the game. Found the outside corner. Miranda, the Arizona product, played at Cal State Fullerton this past year. As Colander late and fouls it away. Well out of play. The right side of the diamond.
One thing that's tough when Racy's pitching is her windup and how she hides the ball so well and then pauses. It really messes with your timing as a hitter, and you're late to see the spin, the seams of the ball, and that's one reason that helps her be successful.
Bracamonte in plenty of time. Yeah, it is a different windup than even in watching her throw warm-up pitches. You're right, she does do a nice job of hiding it.
It's hard for hitters to spot that ball, and that's the thing. And then she's got that lunge, which messes with your eyes a little bit.
And Miranda just missing with that. As a hitter, with your own approach, what did you find yourself keying on most of the time?
Spotting the ball. That's something that, if you get caught up in movements in a pitcher, especially something like Monica Abbott, who's 6'1", 2", and she's got that huge bend down. Other pitchers kind of shift. It's being able to spot the ball and recognizing that spin. Like we talked about earlier, a changeup or a curveball, straight to the head. Walking it off pretty well.
Angry, but seems to be okay. Is down to first base goes Georgia Polidorus.
I don't think anyone can be too happy if they get beamed in the head. Obviously a missed pitch, but something for both of them to shake off.
And Polidorus has good speed on the base pass. The center fielder is Nakaza, trying to extend the inning. Greece looking to score its first run. They were shut out earlier today by Team Israel by a count of 4-0. Mexico in action tonight. They get the late game. As they make their 2023 Canada Cup debut. They were in the tournament last year. Did not find their way into the playoff round. There were 12 teams here last year. This year, the women's international field is 8, as Nakaza had a good rip at that. Team Mexico will return to action tomorrow against TC Colorado. That's the one team we have not had a chance to witness yet today, and I'm very excited about the group that Triple Crown Colorado, that's what TCC stands for, has brought. They were the finalists last year and beat the United States national team twice before losing 5-1 in the championship game. And remember vividly thinking, could you really beat this team 3 times in the same tournament? It's amazing you've done it twice. This might be trouble. Rodas made sure it wasn't. Good play by Kimberly Rodas. And Team Greece continues to look for a little more offense as they trail Mexico by a run at the Canada Cup. Madeline Ruffin, the batter. Everybody enjoying themselves. Greek supporters in attendance.
How can you not? Something about a softball field and the lights on, I think just makes people happy.
Well, I know it makes me happy, and I know it makes you happy. And Madeline Ruffin is happy because she's 2 for 2 in the game. Reached on a bunt base hit, and now she singles into left field. So Madeline Ruffin off to a very nice beginning to the 2023 Canada Cup Tournament. Madeline from Norco, California. The bunt by Lena Reboledo, and she's safe. She beat it out. Didn't look that dangerous when it left the bat. Stavru with a strong throw. Give Reboledo credit. She got down the line quickly. So Mexico in business. Back-to-back hits here. And nobody out as they try to add to the lead, and just might. Hit hard up the middle, a big stop sign, and for good reason.
Great throw.
Georgia Polidoros shows off her throwing arm. Would have been DOA on arrival. So good coaching at third, and the bases are loaded after the hit by Kiana Estrada, her first of the Canada Cup. And Alexia Lopez, an infield single for her opening at-bat experience. And she has a chance to blow the doors open here in the bottom of the third. Nobody out, bases loaded, no activity for Team Greece. They'll come home for one. Well fielded at third. And a strong throw home. The starting pitcher in game one for Greece. And comes home with the strong throw. Apalakis, which for some reason might be my hardest name of the day. And I might be tired. It is game 4. Been great to have Amanda for the last 3. Apostolakos. I'm going to say that all night long.
You do better when you add the accent. So I think you need to keep doing the accent.
Apostolakos.
For each team.
Okay.
So when you have the Greek, the Italians,
well,
the Canadians, I don't know what you do there.
We don't, we just do our thing.
Start rolling your R's.
Okay. Apostolakos. Should never mess up a Greek name. It's unacceptable for me. But that one has not worked all that well. It did this afternoon. I don't know what tonight has done, but that doesn't matter. Let's get back to ball. And the bases remain loaded after the Apostolakos play at third. Boy, if Lauren Stavrou can get out of this jam, it would be something. Bases loaded, nobody out. And Stefania Heredias, the veteran of the Mexican national team, looking to cash in and potentially break the game open. Stefania back to Stavrou, and again they'll come home, and now there's 2 away.
And that's great pitching. That's an opportunity where Mexico can really capitalize here with bases loaded. And she gets a ground ball. You know, she could possibly give up 2 or 3 runs here, and she got a nice ground ball for them.
So as was the case for Alexia Lopez, Heredias on and a fielder's choice, and the bases remain loaded for Emily Bracamonte, who has a base hit in her first appearance. This could be a real turning point in the game. And she fouls this down the third base side again. Lauren Stavrou looking to work her way out of the bases loaded, no one out jam in the bottom of the third.
If Mexico can be a little more patient here, seems like they're eager. They're really out in front of the ball. They can be a little patient, wait on it, drive it to the right side.
This is not going to be an easy play. And a terrific effort by Colander. Couldn't get there. It will be a run-scoring 2-out double. And Mexico, as Bracamonte's double just eludes Colander. Got a glove, just couldn't get it.
What a great effort. She ran a long way for that. She made a great effort.
A 2-run double, and Mexico increases their lead as they finally are able to cash in with the bases loaded. And in on the hands for Alyssa Reboledo. who struck out swinging in the second. It'd be interesting to see the pitch count for both starters. Although Miranda certainly, after a lengthy top half of the first, settled more in. Been a lot of work for Stavrou to do. Able to get out of it in the first, did give up a run in the second, and can't help but think it could have turned the tide. And what momentum it would have built, too, Amanda, if Colander would have made arguably the defensive play of the day. Looking to keep her team in it. Long way to go. Down 3. Do not want it to get to 5. Stay alive swing by Elisa Rebeledo, one of 2. Stavrou looks down at the signs on her left wrist. This is a good at-bat for Rebeledo. Lovely picture right now. Some fluffy clouds, sun going down over the trees. It is a great setting here. Even the shot that we have just from behind home plate shows it off. Lovely at Softball City on this Monday night. And it's going to fall, and it's going to score 2 more. Oh, that's tough. So 2 balls that just elude Greek defenders, and the game has been blown open. And a 2-run pop infield single.
Peter, I'll tell you that those are the balls that you hate the most, especially in a game like this where the Greece team is doing really well, and it's almost better that you want 2 home runs instead of these balls that are just dinky little balls to start breaking this game open. That's frustrating for this Greece team.
The 9th hit. And as this game continues to unfold, I will certainly think back to the great effort by Molly Colander that could have taken Greece out of the inning with 0 and left Mexico bases loaded, a stolen base, and there will not be a throw as Elisa Rebeledo, playing in center field, got down there in a hurry. And I'm a little surprised there's still no activity for Team Greece. Haven't seen anybody up and throwing unless it's going on. Sometimes they will not warm up there. They'll go back in behind every once in a while, especially if the other diamond is empty, and I think it would be. Have not seen a final in the game between Israel playing their second game against Triple Crown Colorado, but that one should be in the books now. It started, or was slated to, at 6. Jillian Sellis is having a good night. Been on base twice, reached the first time on an air, delivered an RBI single her last time up that scored the first Team Mexico run. They've added 4 more here in the bottom of the 3rd to break it open. And she pops this high in the air. Polidorus settles under it. 8 batters come to the plate for Mexico in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. They score 4 times and lead this very young Greek team 5-0 after 3 on night number 1 of the Canada Cup. Team Mexico in front with a 5-0 lead in their first game of the Canada Cup. And in sports, Amanda, inches, centimeters, millimeters can make a difference.
Absolutely.
And it has in this game when you reflect back to that last half inning. A diving try off the glove and left, and it could have been 1-0. And then even the 2-run single that's a pop-up that falls between second and first and scored 2 more. And I loved your comment about the fact is Zoe Stavro, the designated player, leads things off for Greece, that it's probably easier to handle if there's a couple of 2-run home runs to cash in that way. Stavro had a really good cut at that. Greece with just 1 hit in the game. They had 2 hits in the game against Israel earlier today, which was a 4-0 setback.
Yeah, going back to that, Peter, I'm not sure Mexico is in there excited about their offense performance right now. They know they're not getting quality hits. These are coming off little dinker hits. Those aren't going to do a lot later on in the tournament, and so they're going to have to step it up a little bit. Again, the Greece team, I'm sure, frustrated at those runs scored.
Well, the bases were loaded with no one out, and pitcher Lauren Stavro managed to make a couple of great pitches. Bases remain loaded with 2 out, and then those 2 hits that broke it open for Mexico. And Zoe Stavro is having a quality at-bat against Racy Miranda, who's given up just 1 hit in her first 3 innings of work here. No more Dallas Escobedo on the Team Mexico staff, as the Olympics was a big moment for so many veteran players throughout many countries. Mexico, certainly the Canadian team, has a very different look after their bronze medal winning effort 2 summers ago. And the quality at bat is capped off with a hard hit single. And Zoe Stavro, full marks for her first hit of the tournament.
A great one to be, too. That was solid.
And playing third base, Julia Apostolakos. You're right, it is easier if I give it a little more of a Greek twist. He's good, he's good. He's number 1. Never mind, she's the best. Zoe Stavro over at first. Be great for Team Greece to score a run or 2 before the day is over. They have yet to do that. And they still have some powerhouse teams to play. They still have to play Japan on the ground. Eats up Rodas. And Apostolakos on the air after the sharp single by Stavro. We've seen some tough hops over at second. Did well to try and recover it, and almost made the play as Mexico head coach Nancy Prieto comes out for a mound visit, understanding that her team is up by 5, and I would guess this would have a lot to do with just settling her group down.
Yeah, I agree. 2 hits in a row can kind of fluster you a little bit, but I imagine she's just saying, let's get back to it. Let's stop making errors and and get these batters.
Well, when you're in a situation like this, where you're up 5, even with runners at first and second and nobody out, the key really is outs, right, Amanda? In these cases, you want outs.
You want outs, yeah. You have a little bit of leeway with these 5 runs, so get outs. It's also important, too, to start a good rhythm leading in to tomorrow. You don't want to end kind of on a bad vibe on the field. You want to end something well. Let's pick it up. Let's make things sharp. Let's get these outs. Let's get a rhythm going for tomorrow.
Well, I don't know if it was approached this way, but I'm sure it would be, because in every other sport I've been around, and I've been around this one, in terms of tournament play, I would guess the message in many ways is we want to get better each and every day as it goes along. And I can't imagine that would be any different for anything you've experienced.
Well, like we talked about earlier, Peter, every opportunity is a learning opportunity for any athlete. Every single athlete, no matter your name or your status, you can always get better. And you're going to face these teams again.
Just foul. Kyla Benz bouncing one over the head of Mexico. Third base player, Emily Bracamonte. And Team Greece was nearly on the board for the first time in their second game of the day. Benz also pitches. And way out in front of the changeup, the throw back. Low and in the dirt, but a good job by Kiana Estrada to make sure that ball doesn't go through. Keeps it in front of her. So Benz goes down on the strikeout. That's the 4th for Miranda in the game. And Maria Zepeda, 2 runners on. You'd have to feel like this is Greece's chance if they're to get back in this game. 2 on, nobody out. Still plenty of opportunity. But just feel like if you don't take advantage here, it's going to be awfully tough. Slow roller, Bracamonte, and a fine play. Ranged over to her left. And the thing I liked about this play, which, Amanda, you can put in probably better context, I like how she set herself.
Absolutely. Yeah, seeing this replay, you can see the way her feet are. She's opening up her hips to kind of take away that hard play for the shortstop. And Alyssa coming across makes that great play, fires it to first. Footwork was great. Overall, great play.
Well done by Bracamonte. And now there's 2 out. The runners were able to move up on the ground ball 60 feet. So now 2 in scoring position for the youngster. Zoe Milanopoulos, right out of high school. Playing at shortstop again as she started the day against Israel. Made a couple of fine plays. Has a great arm. That was shown off in the game earlier today by Milanopoulos out of Old Bridge High School. And had a good rip at that pitch. That's a nice swing. Zoe Milanopoulos. I think Greece has found themselves a good athlete here. I won't be surprised if she's a big part of their program for many years moving forward. Hit .332 this year at high school. A lot to work with. Rips it. Almost looked like it went off the glove of Kiana Estrada. Let's take another peek. Very close. Slow it down for you. Foul ball.
Either way, great job hitting that ball where it's pitched.
So the 1-2 from Miranda on the way. And it's low, and the count is even to Milanopolis, who's had some good at-bats today, too.
And that's a great job by Zoe taking that pitch, because she just got a pitch before that she ripped. Something low. She's going to want to go after her again. So that was a great call by the Mexico staff, but also a great job of her taking that.
Lopez tried to frame it. The home plate umpire was not buying, and the count runs full on Zoe Milanopolis. Had a game at high school this year against Iselin Kennedy High, where she was 5 for 5 with a home run and 5 runs batted in. And Racy Miranda with a quality drop and a strikeout. And Mexico out of their own mini jam and continue to lead by 5 here in South Surrey. Well, Japan represented well here. Great to have them back at the Canada Cup. I think it's their first appearance in the tournament, going back to 2017. And you know they're always scouting. My guess is they don't miss very much in that program. Already with 2 wins as they make their way to North America before they'll head to Italy for the World Cup qualifier. Is 3 of those tournaments helping to determine next year's field of 8 for the World Cup. It used to be known as the World Championship. The name has changed. It's the World Cup of softball now. That's something the WBSC has brought in, and the qualifying situation is a lot different. I do like the fact that you have to earn your way in, and I also like the fact that it's an 8-team tournament, as Apostolakos unable to stay down. And Mexico with the leadoff batter on is Kimberly Rodas, the ground ball. And Julia would probably like to have that one back. And scored as an error. And Team Greece has made a couple of errors now in the game. Madeline Ruffin having a nice night. She is 2 for 2. Are you at all surprised that she's squaring around to bunt, up 5-0?
Team Mexico seems to be pretty consistent with showing bunt with a runner on one. And I think, you know, nothing's sure here. So 5 runs, I think they're going to push for more.
Well, no bunt here as Ruffin is retired after squaring the first time. And makes an out on a long fly ball, but a relatively routine out in right field. So there's 1 down. And Lena Areboledo comes to the plate. Big jump over there at first from second base player Kimberly Rodas on the air. I'm going to guess Mexico would love to add a couple more and maybe shorten this game. And that was foul by very little. Got a lot of computer noises going on tonight. Mr. Lafrano has about 97 of them going to our left. I call him the Magic Man. Runs about 13 cameras. His drone is still stuck on the screen. Reboledo to right. And another out made by Maria Zepeda, who's having a busy inning in right field. 2 down. Lauren Stavru has gone the whole way, the veteran of this Greek national team. So back-to-back flyouts to right field. Estrada, I'm going to guess somebody missed a sign right there. Squared around to bunt. But I think more than anything, looked like maybe an opportunity to protect the runner. One ball, no strikes. Estrada taking all the way this time. And like the first pitch, it is also a ball. Estrada scored a run in that 4-run third inning. She had a base hit. Now she'll try a bunt base hit and a Pastelakos with a strong throw to end the inning. It remains 5-0 Mexico after 1. Pastelakos in time to end the inning. Team Greece looking to get on the board. They trail by 5. And starting things off in the top of the inning is catcher Kate Karamouzis. in her first game of the Canada Cup. Did not participate in the 4-0 setback at the hands of Team Israel earlier today. Greece had 2 hits in that game. They have 2 hits in tonight's game.
Boring.
Well, that's a little strong. Somewhat humorous, but strong. Karamoussis. Greece has had a couple of opportunities in the game, but haven't been able to cash in. But really the difference in this game was a couple of near misses defensively. And I don't mean errors, just balls that simply eluded outfielder Molly Colander. And if Greece gets that, what would have been the play of the day defensively, I would suggest, of all the games we've seen. And instead, in Mexico's case, they almost found themselves with no runs, having the bases loaded with nobody out, and then followed that base hit up with an infield single that I'm not sure you could take the ball and put it in a spot between second and first again where it would find a hole, because it was a pop. It wasn't a ground ball through the infield. Literally over the pitcher's head, right in between second and first. Everybody converged. No one got there. And all of a sudden, 1-0 became 5. And that's the difference. Racy Miranda, hard hit. Bracamonte says, thank you kindly. At third, short, second, first, you like the balls that you can take in the middle of your body in that area.
A nice one-hop, candy hop, we say, where you can even take an extra shuffle to give your first baseman time to get back there. Those are fun.
Always enjoy those. Molly Colander opened the game with a hit and then grounded out to Bracamonte, her last time up, and rips it for a base hit. Colander 2 for 3 in the game. Stayed back on the ball, good hands. Drove right through it.
Yeah, she sits really well on that changeup.
One out, and Colander aboard at first. For center fielder, Georgia Polidoros. Lopez, the catcher, framed it. Close, but missed, according to the home plate umpire. Well, you're certainly not sending the runner here. I wouldn't think. Could be 2. Celis. Good slide and good wheels on both ends of the equation. No opportunity to turn it over, but they do get the force at second for the second out. And Brianna Nakaza playing at second base for a second straight game. Change up is a strike. Miranda chatting with shortstop Jillian Celis. Talking, I'm sure, about positioning and the next pitch. Home plate umpire with a bit of a delayed call, and it's been consistent. You know, the catcher knows what's going on. We have to wait an extra half second to see whether the arm goes up or not. Rodas makes the play. So Greece with a hit. They leave one, but still looking for the first run of the Canada Cup as Mexico closing in on an opening game win in Softball City, located in South Surrey, British Columbia. Julia Apostolakos makes her second appearance in terms of pitching in this event. She was the starter against Israel. Worked 2 2/3, gave up a couple of runs. So that brings with it some defensive changes. Zoe Stavru, who was the designated player, will come in, and that designated player designation allows that. And it also means we have a change where Apostolakos was at third. And it is Canadian Jana Want coming in. We saw her earlier in the game. She's from Stony Creek, Ontario, just outside of Hamilton. And Eve Borneus comes in, as she did earlier today as well, for Zoe Milanopoulos. And we're set for the start of the bottom of the fifth. Mexico with a couple of runs here could bring an end to the final game of day one of this 8-team women's international tournament. And there are no shortage of games to be played in this area between the U19 divisions. The U17 is back this year. Great softball. If only there was more time. I'd really enjoy watching some of the U19 event. Certainly players that participated in that event that are now in this one is knocked down by Apostolakos off the bat of Lopez, and did well to stay with it and throw her out at first. Aridias reached last time on a fielder's choice, also laid down a sacrifice bunt. So officially 0 for 1 in your scorebook. Squares, but asked Amanda about it, and for many players, they'll do that just to help them with timing. Hitting seems to be taught so much, I want to use the right language, taught differently.
I think that's the thing. There's so many different ways of teaching it, and it's really whatever works for that individual athlete, whether it's showing a bunt before to get your timing to see the ball better, or your huge leg kick like Erica Piancastelli. So many different styles, but in the end it's hit the ball.
Well, I don't know what you were taught growing up. It's probably very similar. The game has just changed so much with video and, you know, and people who are very, very good at teaching it. But I remember back in the day, you know, in a lot of cases, your front foot would get you in trouble because of your stride. Now it seems like everything is really almost, in a sense, a little like golf, where you load up on the back and it's the hip turn and the explosion coming off of there.
The build-up is kind of what we're seeing now. It's exactly what you're talking about, that load or that weight shift into your backside. And the front foot, more often now, if you do have a step, it's just a timing mechanism. A lot of coaches teach that you want that front foot down when the ball is halfway to the plate. That way you can have the reaction time. Your load is already set, and that energy that you build up from your foot has transferred up to your hips, and then you can explode through and use it through the power. So yeah, I think every couple of years the strategy in hitting changes.
I always find these conversations very interesting. I love learning. Funny, Aridias right there pointing, or like grabbing her back leg almost to keep the load, as you referred to it as.
Sometimes a reminder. You can feel it. You can feel if you don't get all that power in that load. A good reminder, just kind of tapping your backside.
And it's almost really a hard plant from that back, turning that knee in and then driving off of it.
And yeah, what we're starting to see sometimes is that knee shifts in to open up those hips.
Well, she hit it well, Stefania Aridias, but right again. It's been a busy last couple innings for Maria Zepeda out in right field, who is positioned perfectly. Took about one step to her left and records the out. As Apostolakos has come in and retired the first two that this young, don't even want to call her a pitcher. You can find her in a lot of spots. Young athlete. Pitches, we've seen her in the infield. Started this game at third. Bracamonte, Zepeda, and won't get to that. She'll get the wave. Emily Bracamonte has a 2-out stand-up triple.
Yeah, Emily does a great job getting her hands up a little bit, getting that barrel out, hitting it a bit late, driving it down the line. Right field has been busy, and you hit it there enough one time, it's going to drop, and she placed that well.
Emily Bracamonte is 3 for 3 with a double, a triple, and a single. She gets one more crack. You know what we'll be talking about. Cycle time.
That's a way to start a tournament. A lot of pressure leading on after that, though, but good for her.
And she just might get a crack to come up one more time. She's at third with 2 out after the triple. And Elisa Reboledo, who singled her last time up. She's 1 for 2, and now home plate umpire gets things straight. So 2 strikes on the batter after Apostolakos gives up her first hit. Again, this sport, not unlike many others, I don't think it takes very long if you've been around sports to kind of have a feel for good athletes. Apostolakos, Milanopolis, to me, good athletes. And I'm only singling them out because, they're 17 and 18 years old. So when you're trying to build your program, and if you're Team Greece, and you hope to continue to be more and more competitive, whether it's in Europe, in qualifying situations, European championships, with hopes of making your way to a World Cup, or hopefully if the Olympic competition is available to women's softball, as it should be in every Olympics, I might add. Not quite as good as ballroom dancing like we'll have in Paris. I know. I'll offend somebody. I don't care.
No one here, I don't think.
No. Softball belongs in the Olympic Games every single time. It is now played by enough countries in enough parts in the world where it's represented well enough. Pitch gets away from Karamoussis, and Bracamonte scores Mexico's 6th run on what I would think would be scored a wild pitch.
Peter, I'm just saying hello.
Always nice to get a familiar hello from someone you've known for a number of years after being around this game. As the crowd is certainly thinned out here late in the evening. Thank Amanda Fama for joining me for the entire day. And we'll be back with you tomorrow. The plan right now is we'll kick things off, at least from a broadcaster game standpoint, at 1 o'clock. And take you through the rest of the day. We'll certainly have video and live streaming look at the first game of the morning, Israel and Japan. I'll start things at 10:30. Apostolakos, good swing by Reboledo. Right on it, as they have a tendency to utter in this sport. Mexico has built a 6-0 lead. This is their opening game. 4 runs. Broke it open. And another quality cut by Alyssa Reboledo. So by my roster, there's 2 Reboledos and 1 Robledo. Change up. Ooh, Apostolakos wanted it on the payoff pitch and didn't quite pay off as the walk is drawn. Good at bat by Alyssa Reboledo. And Jillian Celis, who has a hit, was 1 for 3 in the game with a double and a run batted in. Would like to deliver the 7th run, which would end the game and end the day. And she had a good turn, trying to drive it potentially out of here. Have had a couple of home runs today. A few, in fact. Japan with 3 on the day. Hard hit. Eats up Eve Borneus, who now in the game at shortstop. And I bet you have a few memories of balls hit like that at you.
Too many. It's hard. You have to be able to stay down from your starting position and shift over for that ball. That's what makes it so hard. It is hit hard, but you got to be able to keep that glove down.
Pitching coach Shan McDonald trots onto the field. Long-time softball coach, was a great player from Ontario, Canada. Got to know her myself. We were on the same team. I was a very young person. Hi, Frankie. Frankie Billingsley coming by to say hello. She is one of the umpiring supervisors. In fact, just got a big promotion at Softball Canada in that neighborhood. A great woman. Got to know her. She was down the hall for me at the hotel that you and I are both at in 2019, and a great umpire and just a lovely person. And now helping other umpires get better in their craft. She's umpired a lot of international events. Kimberly Rodas is the batter. And Grease is now, boy, that's a tough error to give, but I guess you almost have to. That ball was hit very hard by Sellis, who's been on base 3 different times, twice on errors to the shortstop.
Yeah, that one you could tell just her glove wasn't down. It ricocheted right between her legs. It's frustrating. That's why, like we talked about the bats, the ball just jumps off them now, and it's a hot position. It's a tough position.
It's a very tough position. And again, you want to play back and deeper if you can, but you still have to make that throw and make that play.
And that's a big discussion going on through shortstops. It's, do you play up to take away some of the time that the ball takes to travel to you, take away the scary hops that eat up some athletes? Do you play shorter? That takes away your range for some balls. How well is your arm? And there's a lot that goes into where you're playing. You have to know yourself, most importantly.
Well, having better range and better arm strength allows you, right, to play deeper.
Mm-hmm.
There's some balls that are hit so hard that
you just don't have time to get your glove down, and I think that's what we saw here. It happens, and it's tough.
Yeah, that was a hot shot off the bat of Sellis. There's part of me sometimes that I almost wish the technology wasn't what it was, and maybe that's because one of my favorite parts of the game is the defensive side and balls that aren't hit quite as hard. I'm not so sure it wouldn't make it a bit better of a game.
Yeah, I know sometimes I've had a bat that is extremely broken in, and I'll only use it on certain games because I know if I connect, then this thing's just flying, and it takes away that defensive part of the game, which is my favorite personally. And when a bat is hot, it's a scary thing.
Yeah, as that ball went through her legs, there just was not very much time to get yourself down and set. And a bases loaded walk now to load them. 2 out. And Team Greece has been in this situation more than once. In fact, it's the game-changing moment. Bases loaded. Back in the third. There was nobody out. Then there was 2 out like there is now. And great attempt by Molly Colander and left. Just a diving try that would have ended the inning. And then a really quite fortunate bloop single that turned into 2 more runs. And that's how it went from 1-0 to 5-0 in the 4-run third inning. And a hit here ends the game in the fifth with a 6-0 advantage. And Madeline Ruffin, a good twist and turn on that swing for Madeline. She's had a good night at the plate with a couple of hits. One was a bunt base hit and the other a sharp single. She played at the World Games, also represented Mexico at the 2019 U19 World Cup in California, where she had a solid tournament. She was 7 for 22. Oh, and Apostolakos and the entire Greek team desperately wanted a different decision from the home plate umpire there. And it was close. We're a little off of home plate. I love the vantage point. Great place to call a game. But we're not right directly behind home plate. So some of those pitches on the outside, I wouldn't be telling the truth if I said we could assess them quite as well as we could if we were about 15 feet down. And that is going to end the game. Bases loaded walk, an RBI for Ruffin. And that ends it. 2 more in the bottom of the fifth. And Mexico shuts out Greece. Greece 0-2 in the tournament. Mexico is 1-0. Amanda, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Looking forward to the rest of the tournament. I know it's been a long day and quite an indoctrination into the streaming and television type world, and hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Thank you, Peter. Looking forward till tomorrow.
Well, we'll get some rest and be back with you tomorrow afternoon. The Canada Cup continues tomorrow morning at 10:30. Hope you enjoyed the day. We know we did. So long from Surrey.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a premier member now. Softball